Top 10 Ultimate Alumni players in College Football 25 Ultimate Team. If you are unaware, everybody gets this pack where you choose one of these 10 cards from just pre-ordering College Football 25 right now. So everybody's going to have this decision to make. And let's get right into it. At number 10, I've got Payton Wilson. I'm actually going to sit here and talk a little about how I rank necessarily BNDs differently than it would just be like auctionable cards. Because you got to understand, BNDs, we're looking for not only high impact players right away, but we want their card to have longevity in your lineup. We don't want you to choose a player and they get replaced, you know, the second or third day, and that card that you chose becomes irrelevant. So a lot of the times in this list, and you know, as we do these videos leading up to launch, I'm not going to have, for example, like a running back super high, because, you know, all it takes is one other running back to come out or you to pick up. Your running back then gets moved to running back 2. And let's be honest, that is an irrelevant position in your depth chart. Rather than a defensive back of your choosing, right? You pick up a new defensive back, okay, then your BND cornerback just gets moved down to cornerback 2 or cornerback 3, cornerback 4, cornerback 5. So hopefully you understand this list. And again, it's up to you what you want to choose, but let's get right into it. Again, Payton Wilson at number 10. Simple reason for him being the lowest in this list. First off, we don't know if linebackers can even jump, so it might just be a year, again, where safeties are subbed at linebacker so they can animate in passing situations, but he's also very, very slow, right? 77 speed is the speed we're seeing on defensive linemen, right? Running backs, receivers, and skill position players are all at 80+ speed, so this dude is pretty much not going to be able to be manned up at all at the linebacker position. He's still decent at tackling, but yeah, you'd have to be a Steelers fan or a NC State Wolfpack fan for you to choose Payton Wilson. Moving on to number 9, we have got Cooper DeJean. I think this is the card I'm most disappointed with stat-wise. He's just slower than a defensive back that's later on in this video. Only 80 speed, 6 foot, so he's not the tallest. There are just much better options from really all of the pre-order options this year, whether it be the Heisman hopefuls, the cover athlete pack. There's just better defensive backs than Cooper DeJean, and that is why he is so low. Next up, we've got that running back in Blake Corm, and he's not bad, right? 81 speed is not, it's fast enough in my opinion, but I also think running back is one of the most important players. We've seen the gameplay. I think everybody's seen the gameplay from the other day. Running the ball is going to be very, very good, and having an elite running back. And by the way, none of these cards get abilities, so we're only focused really on their stats, and for the most part, it's going to be speed. That is going to be the main stat that we're looking at. But running back is going to be one of those positions where you are going to want to afford, and if we're talking like your GM salary, like you're going to want to spend coins on a running back. It's going to be a very high impactful player. And you know, Blake Corm, also you have that Donovan Edwards you can choose in the cover athlete pack, but Blake Corm to me is just kind of like, if I were to choose him, I could just already tell you he's going to be like my running back 2 the second day of the game. And it's not a choice where you can choose 9 other players. Blake Corm is just not a priority for me. Next up at number 7, we have got Jared Verse. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I think now these top 7 cards, I wouldn't argue with if you want to choose them, because they each kind of fill their own role or spot. He's a defensive end, pass rusher. Does nothing amazing, but does nothing poorly. A very well-rounded card. 77 speed isn't too fast, but it's not too slow. And then you see his power move and finesse move is very balanced, as well as his block shed, tackling, all those stats. The only reason why he's so low is I just think defensive end, again, is not a very high impactful position on the defense. I would, you know, prefer, I think defensive back is probably the most impactful position on defense. Defensive end is kind of, you know, there. I would say you're kind of just going to set it and forget about it. But again, if you want a great pass rusher, overalls, by the way, with 85 overall being the highest, these 82 overall cards are actually pretty high of overalls. I don't even know what base overalls are going to be for college football players, since the cover athlete cards are 81s, and those are some of the best players in the game. Base cards might all be 80 overall and lower, so these 82s might be marquee cards. So you want one of the best pass rushers, and that's like what you focus on defense. Jared Verse is your guy, but unfortunately, it's not for me. Next up at number 6, and I guess we're going to talk about number 6 and number 5. They are interchangeable. They are the 2 offensive linemen in this video. Now, let me say this right now. These 2 cards are probably the players that have the most longevity out of any card of these 10 players. That's just because, let's be honest, no one wants to spend coins on offensive linemen, and also offensive linemen overall-wise and stat-wise. You know, it's not placebo. Like, they all are going to play the same. The difference between 85 left tackle and 82 left tackle is going to be very minimal if there's, you know, if there's no abilities in the cards. Even saying that, like, a 78 or 79 left tackle is not going to play that much different than an 82 left tackle. So Jordan Morgan and I'm JC Latham. Sorry, I forgot the other card. JC Latham. That is. I would completely understand if you go with them as your choice for this pre-order pack. I just don't think it's a very high impact. That's like really with the area we're at with this ranking video. We're just not the high impact positions. But again, an 82 left tackle, an 82 right tackle, they're probably going to be your starting offensive lineman for, I would probably say, at least a month. I know that sounds crazy, but if I'm building my team, like, why would I want to spend coins on like an 84 and 85 left tackle? Let's say I have to spend, 100, 150K. Why would I do that? These 82 overall linemen are going to get the job done. And the other thing I will mention, and again, they're a little bit low again because of the impact. Like, they're offensive linemen. Let's be honest, when we start our team, lineman isn't the position that's going to get the most immediate impact in gameplay. But I will say this. If you are able to get multiple of these cards, whether it is from solo challenges, objectives, right? You're able to get, let's say, 2 or 3 of these 10 cards, because it is going to be a little bit disheartening that we're only able to choose one, because there's a lot of cards I'd want on this list. I think Jordan Morgan and JC Latham are actually probably my number 2 and 3 options if I could choose multiple players. I know that might sound a little bit confusing, but there's a top guy on this list that I really want. And after that, I probably just go with offensive linemen so I can just fill out those positions on my team and not have to worry about having to buy a left tackle and a right tackle, for the first month of the game. But if you can only choose one of these players, it's not the sexy pick, an offensive lineman, and I know a lot of people probably aren't going to do it. It might be the smartest thing, and again, long term, but offensive lineman, Jordan Morgan at 6, I have JC Latham at 5. You can interchange those. Yeah, those are your offensive linemen. Moving on to number 4, we've got the only quarterback on this list in Michael Penix Jr., and I'm going to have to elaborate about this ranking just like the offensive lineman. So Michael Penix Jr., in my opinion, is the best of the pre-order quarterbacks, right? Whether it's 83 Carson Beck or 81 Quinn Ewers. He's the best simply because he's the fastest. Remember, these cards do not have abilities, which makes really these 82 overall quarterbacks viable for a long time. As long as we don't get any abilities on quarterbacks or any cards, right? Michael Penix Jr. can be your quarterback for a long time. An 85 overall quarterback is not going to play that much different than Michael Penix Jr. The reason why he's at number 4, because he's high up, again, because he's the best of the pre-order quarterback. So if you want Michael Penix Jr. to be your guy, the quarterback, the face of your ultimate team for the first few weeks, he is a really good option. He's going to be probably a top 3 quarterback, I would say, at launch, which is very high for like a lower overall pre-order, reward. You usually aren't able to get that in Madden Ultimate Team. But the reason why he's not super high, but I would not recommend, it's just the quarterback thing. I don't like being tied down to a B&D quarterback. Similar to running back in the Blake Corm that was earlier in this video. You're going to want to spend coins like that. Quarterback is a position that you're going to want to spend premium on to get the best players in the game because it's the most important player on the field. And I just don't want to be tied to a B and D quarterback. Again, if just one quarterback comes out on that first Saturday, it's right, Tim Tebow legend, and you really want that card, your Michael Penix Jr. then is irrelevant. So if you choose Michael Penix Jr., which is completely, understandable, you are committing to him, in my opinion, for a few weeks. He is your guy. He's your quarterback. You better love how he plays in game. Personally, if I were to choose a quarterback from one of the pre-order quarterbacks, I would probably just go with the Quinn Ewers. I don't think the Donovan Edwards and Travis Hunter cards are very good. And if you want kind of that just starter level quarterback, I think Quinn Ewers is the guy. Michael Penix Jr. comes in at number 4. Cracking the top 3 is Quinyon Mitchell, the highest defensive back on this list. 82 speed, 6 foot, the second Philadelphia Eagle rookie in this video. Now, I'll be honest, he's not anything crazy from a card perspective, right? There are 2 defensive backs in the Heisman Hopeful pack that are faster at 83 speed and 84 speed. So Quinyon Mitchell is not going to be probably even a top 5 defensive back to start the game at launch. But the reason why he's so high, and I always recommend this for BND options, and I mentioned earlier in the video, is he's a player that even if you replace and you pick up 1 or 2 corners, right, early on into your Ultimate Team, your College Football Ultimate Team journey, right, you could just move him down the depth chart and he's still going to be technically a starter on your team. So he has that kind of, he's an immediate impact position where defensive back is a player, right? You need good defensive backs in the game. I think it's the most important position on defense, but also he has that longevity to where he's going to be, at worst, your slot corner for a few weeks into the game. So that is why he's at number 3. Again, he's nothing crazy stat-wise. Again, no abilities. And he's not even going to be a top 5 defensive back to start the game. But that longevity and the position is of so importance. That's why I have Quinyon Mitchell at number 3. But now getting into the top 2, and I think these two separate themselves. I think they're just at a great position, and they're just a great card altogether. We've got Alumni Mitchell, 83 speed. I believe, I should have researched this before, but I believe he is 6'3". He is just your prototypical tall and fast receiver. There's not going to be too many receivers that are probably better than him at launch. Again, 82 overall, and overalls altogether don't really mean anything right now because abilities aren't tied. Like, you don't need the highest overall card to unlock a certain ability and it be good. So throw away, like, for right now, as long as there's no abilities in the game, throw away your opinion of a card based on their overall. The way I look at Alumni Mitchell, man, he's 6'3" and he's got 83 speed. So far, the fastest card we've seen out of any of the pre-order cards is 84 speed. So I could probably assume the fastest card in the game at launch is probably 85 speed, if that. And, you know, probably going to be a shorter wide receiver if it's going to be that. So Alumni Mitchell might be like the best big, fast receiver we see in the game for the first week or two. And again, just like defensive back, he might not be the best receiver, and you might replace and get another receiver very early on as you build your team, but then you just slide him down the depth chart, and he's still a starter. He is in a high-impact position, and at a position to where the longevity of this card is going to last you at least, you know, a few weeks. He's that good of a card, so that is why Alumni Mitchell is at number 2. But at number 1, it's gonna be the tight end Brock Bowers. I know this goes against what I've said about, like, position longevity, because let's be honest, most people are only going to have one tight end on their field. So if you get a better tight end, Brock Bowers will be, for the most part, irrelevant in your lineup. I just think he is going to be the best tight end in the game at launch. He's probably going to be the best tight end in the game for the first week. The only way I am not choosing Brock Bowers as my 1 of 10 player pre-order pack is if there's another free tight end you earn in, like, the season 1 field pass. Because even if there's a tight end for, say, let's say in case you missed it from, it's 85 overall, who knows how fast. Again, 81 speed is rapid for a tight end, right? Cooper DeJean's a defensive back. He's got 80 speed. Blake Corm's a running back. He's got 81 speed. This is a tight end we're talking about, and he's moving as fast as a defensive back or a wide receiver. He also has great run blocking at 76. I just see this being the best tight end in the game at launch, and you can get him for free. And normally, if you want the best player at a position like tight end, it's going to cost you a lot of coins in the auction house. Like I said, there might be an 85 overall tight end that has 82 speed, but he's probably going to be 150, 200k if he's that high of an overall. So Brock Bowers, to me, is very similar to the Isaiah Likely card we saw in Madden 24 Ultimate Team to start the game. A budget beast that you can get for free. Yeah, this is the card that I recommend. Until we see a tight end potentially in the Season 1 Field Pass, or in case you missed it from, but I don't even know if that would deter me from choosing this Brock Bowers card. Yeah, I think he's going to be the best tight end in the game, and I think he's the best card of these 10 Ultimate Alumni players. But whoever you choose, it is up to you. It is your Ultimate team. But let me know down in the comments who you are choosing. Hopefully, again, like I said, we can get like 3 or 4 of these players, so we're not, there's not a bunding pressure, you would say, to choose the right player for your lineup. But that is all for this video. Comment who you're going to choose again if you have any questions. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, peace.